of the things I wanted to talk to you about today was how did you and your teammates manage to go through all that controversy because you had to deal with the pandemic, you had to deal with social injustice issues, you had to deal with the bubble. How did you guys maintain your concentration with all of those negative things around you?
Um, Listen, you try to always turn a negative into a positive, no matter what you're going through. And we understood the sacrifices that we were making. We understood the condition and the landscape that we were going into, along with the bubble and everything that was not only going on the floor, but also off the floor with the social injustice and police brutality and systemic racism and voter suppression. There was a lot of things that was going on off the floor. Some things you can control, some things you can't control, but you just try to keep the main thing the main thing. And while we were playing the game, we was focused on what our job was at hand. And then, after the game where we weren't playing, we was focused on some things that guys were very passionate about. So, was able to kill two birds with one stone in that instance.
And to follow up on that, you more so than anyone else in this club can tell your teammates what it will be like to defend the championship. What will you tell them about that?
I guess the bullseye just becomes even greater, even if that's even possible. One, for me personally, the bullseye has always been on my back or on my front since I entered the league. And then you add in the Laker name on top of that, the Lakers franchise. The bullseye has been on this franchise for a long time as well. So, understanding that everyone's going to come at us, everyone's going to, try to take away from us defending our title. But, for me personally, last year we won the ring, we won a title, and this year is a new challenge. It's everybody's opportunity to go out there and do it. So, as long as we go in with that mindset and be humbled about our process, and and not worry about what we did last year, we need to worry about what we're going to do this year. It will give us the best possible chance to be able to go out and try to win another one.
Mike Trudell.
Hey, LeBron, I know it couldn't be much earlier for this question, but just your initial impressions on the new guys coming in, how they impact and how they evolve the team from where it was last year on both sides of the floor.
Well, it's definitely too early to tell, but we're just so excited to have those guys here. Having Wes, Dennis, obviously Trez and Big Mark. We're extremely excited to have those guys here. We're just working our habits, working our, what we want to do as a team, both defensively and offensively. And everyone is in tune. Everyone is excited. But it's a process, and it's going to get better and better every single day, every single practice. And, that's what it's all about. But we love what we've brought to this ball club along with the guys that's returned.
And then just bigger picture, the significance of both you and AD and the contract extensions and what you think that means for the two of you in the franchise.
Well, what it means that we're here and we're committed to this franchise. We're going to give everything that we got to this franchise. That's what it's all about. And the Lakers believe in us, and they rewarded us with those contracts, and we just try to go out there and earn them every day. Both on the floor and off the floor, try to make an impact not only at what we do on the floor, but also make an impact off the floor on how we carry ourselves as men as well. So, it's a great partnership.
Dave.
Hey, LeBron. So this will take you in a pretty rarefied air, this contract, 20 years in the league. Have you thought about what the future could look beyond that in terms of how long you'll want to stick around?
No, I haven't. I don't know how long I'm gonna stick around this game. I've never taken. I never take for granted every time I get an opportunity to play another season. I try to prepare my mind and my body and my spirit, for a season and see where it takes me. Like you said, at the end of this contract, I'll be in year 20. The best thing about it is that the year I'll be a free agent will be the same year my oldest son graduates high school. So I'll have some options to see, for me personally, what I want to do forward, to be around my family, being around my son more, or continue to play this game that I love, with great health and great spirit. So we'll see. Like I said, I don't look too far in the future as far as myself. I just try to give the game as much as I can in the time being, and see what happens. So I've been blessed to be a part of this, a part of 18 straight training camps, and I'll never take that for granted.
Chris McGee.
Hey, LeBron.
congratulations are in order of being the first athlete to ever be named 3-time Sports Illustrated Sports Person of the Year. I would assume that is an amazing honor, but considering where we are as a world, did this one have a little more special meaning to it?
First of all, thank you. It definitely does. And you see the class that I was in, and the group that I was in, the men and women that I was a part of, understanding that, we're more than athletes, and, being able to go out there and not only perform at a high level in what we do as far as our profession, but also being able to change lives and create opportunities and empower people and inspire people off the floor, not only in our communities, but all over the world. So it means a lot, to be a part of that group and, like you said, to be the first ever 3-time winner of this award. Very humbled. It means a lot to my family and my friends and, my kids at my foundation and my school back home and my city of Akron, where I come from. It's a great time.
And Mikey?
Hey, LeBron. What was your first reaction when you heard December 22nd for a season, and how did that change kind of your off-season plans from that point forward?
I was like, wow. And I said, just being completely honest, I wasn't expecting that because early conversations were going on that I was hearing that there would be kind of a mid-January start, and the training camp will kind of start after Christmas. We'd have an opportunity to spend Christmas with our families, so I had already planned a vacation with my family for us to go somewhere, which I haven't been able to do, obviously, since I've been in the league. And, so I had to switch up a lot of things, once I heard the December 22nd start and with training camp starting, obviously this week. So, just started preparing my mind, preparing my body, trying to get as much stuff as I could do with my family, spending as much time as I could with them before getting back into the grind. So that's what it's been about.
Album?
Hey, LeBron. You now won a championship with every franchise you've ever played for. Rob talked to us about his hope that one of the jerseys that you retire at the end of your career will be a Lakers jersey. With this contract, how much is going into sort of what you've already built and accomplished in LA and what you hope to achieve here?
I just want to continue to do what I've always done. Try to lead the franchise, lead the group of guys that I'm around as far as the game that we play. And then off the floor, just continue to inspire people on being more than what people say that they are, and carry myself personally. I understand every time I leave a house that I'm not representing just myself. I'm representing my whole family, representing my friends that's associated with me and representing my kids at my school back home. So it's a lot of responsibility for me when I walk out of my household. So, I want to continue to go out there and play the game at a high level, continue to play for my teammates, continue to play for this franchise, play for our fan base, play for whoever, want to see me play the game and like the way I approach the game, and continue to inspire off the floor.
Bill Oram?
Hey, LeBron, good to see you. I'm wondering, you've been only out of the bubble for like 6 weeks, half as long as you were there in the first place. I'm wondering what the adjustment back to the world has been like for you, and what changes you've had to make in your life, your family's behavior, to limit your exposure and do your part, for the league. I mean, are there changes you made to limit your bubble or your typical orbit?
Yeah, you just have to. We listen to the experts on what's going on with the climate, as far as COVID, and keep your family in the mask when we leave the house or whatever the case may be, and be cautious of where we travel to, be cautious who we're around. Right now you just try to do everything that you can to protect your family, and hopefully you can stay safe and stay healthy. Obviously that's the most important thing than anything. So that's what it's been all about. Obviously, we are all hoping that the world gets back to normal at some point, so we can get back to kind of some normalcy, with our kids being back in school. Our kids miss being in school. They're sick and tired of doing these Zoom classes. They love being around their other classmates. They love, being in classrooms and having fun, and I understand that too. So hopefully we can get back to that soon. But much appreciation, much respect to the teachers that's holding these classes, Monday through Friday. They're doing a hell of a job. So much respect to that. But we'll see what happens. But for me, nothing has changed. Pretty much I've always been, protector of my family, and no matter what, no matter if it was, COVID going around or just how we live on a day-to-day basis.
Mark Medina.
Hey, LeBron, good to see you, and congratulations on your extension and all your accomplishments. You've said a lot of times of the adjustment and struggle with playing games without fans. I was wondering, because of the bubble experience, how more equipped are you to be able to adjust to that, or is that still kind of an ongoing struggle you think you'll continue to have?
No, it would never be something that I'll be fully comfortable with or accustomed with. I got too many years of playing the game or playing sports in general with fans. So I would never want to get fully committed to that or fully comfortable with that, because I believe at some point we will get back to it. Hopefully, I'm still playing, and hopefully I'm still in uniform. That's the hope, obviously, and I believe it will happen sooner than later. So, but I have the ability to go out there and channel, my focus, understand that I could get to that point of where knowing there's no fans there, but it would never be something that's comfortable or something that I could be accustomed to or something that would feel regular, because I've played so many years throughout my life since I was, I guess, 8 years or 9 years old when I first started playing organized sports where fans were there, and it's just all a part of it. Fans is a part of this game, is a part of sports. You could just look at some of the greatest sporting events ever of a course of time, and obviously you can see the impact that fans make. So they're truly missed from every sport that goes on in the world.
Let's take a few more here. BT.
What's up, Brian?
What's up, B? Appreciate you.
Things are good. How do you think your more than a vote worked out in this event and next for the organization?
I think it worked out great. We was able to set out a plan and then execute that, and it was about basically educating and empowering people in their communities to get out there and exercise their right to vote. Understand their exercise, understand that their right to vote, how important it is, to vote, not only to change what's going on in America, but also change what's going on in some of their own communities. So, with the help of a lot of people, a lot of athletes, a lot of entertainers, a lot of local people that go around in their own communities that's making change, we was able to have some success. I mean, you look at the numbers through the election; it was the most turnout ever in election history of people who got out there and voted. And one thing about us, we didn't tell you who to go vote for. We didn't pick one side versus the other side. We just wanted to educate you and enlighten you and empower you and let you know, how important your right is. And this is your right, because so many people lay their lives on the line to have this right. And and then growing up in the black community, a lot of people don't understand or don't feel, I don't want to say understand, they don't feel like their vote counts or them voting like it actually matters. But it does. And we saw it in the November election of how many people turned out and the change that was able to create. And we want to continue to do things. We're looking at the race that's going on in Georgia coming up, in January. So we're trying to see how well we can continue to help down there, because it's a big moment down there. And then going forward, seeing other opportunities where we can help create change for the better of good for all of us, not just people that's involved in more than a vote.
All right, three more here. Alan Sliwa.
Hey, LeBron. Anthony Davis was obviously so great last season. I just want to get your thoughts on some of your expectations for him this upcoming year and how you think he even steps up his game even more from what he's already accomplished.
I don't have any expectations for Anthony Davis. I mean, listen, I know what he's about. I know what he's capable of. And I know what he brings to the game. He's special. He's one of the best players in the world, and his talent is what he's able to do at his size. There's not many people in the world that's ever been able to do that in this sport, period. So, but I don't have any expectations on him. He's going to go out and be himself, and he's going to do things not only that we've seen before, it's going to be some things that we haven't seen before, but it's going to be on both sides of the floor. So, but there's no expectations for me.
Bill Plaschke.
Yeah, LeBron, you've never been a big fan of load management, but isn't this year different? Don't you need to conserve it with a shortened off season? Don't you need to conserve yourself more this year?
I've always listened to my coaches. We had the same thing last year when the coaching staff got here. You know, we're going to be as smart as we can be on not, making sure that my body and making sure that I'm ready to go. Obviously, every game matters, but we're competing for something that's high. So we don't ever want to shortchange our stuff, and it's for me personally. It's always a fine line with me, but I understand that with the shortened season. I mean, I think it was 71 days that the off season is going to be the shortest off season for any sport ever, any professional sports ever. So you're going to be very conscientious about what we do going forward, as far as me personally.
Last question, Melissa Rowland.
Hey, LeBron, you talked about just sort of your reaction when you first found out how short your off season was going to be. Now that you've had some time to let it set in, how are you feeling both physically and mentally right now?
Physically, that's gonna. I mean, right now I'm sore as hell. We're day 2 of training camp, so that's been my whole career, pretty much, except probably like year 1 and year 2 when I was 18 and 19. Super sore, but nothing. I don't have anything that's stopping me from being on the floor, doing 5-on-5, doing 4-on-4, doing any drills, things of that nature. So good in that sense. And then from mentally, I'm great. I'm healthy. My family's healthy. I'm great mentally. So I'm in a really good place in my life. So I'm solid.
Jay, will you just take one more for Chris McGee, please?
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks, LeBron. Kind of to piggyback off a question Mike asked earlier about the new pieces. Considering you guys just basically won this championship, it seems like yesterday, mid-October, can new pieces help a title team, and just in terms of practices and the focus early on, especially guys that are thirsty for a title? And I know Mark's won one, but it's been a couple years.
I mean, just adding guys that just play the game the right way and that's hungry to be, hungry to want to, win and win at the highest level. You got Trez, who's won a 6 Man of the Year award. You got Dennis, who played, in a bunch of playoff games and, was right there, at winning the 6 Man award. You got Wes, who's been on some teams, who's went deep into the playoffs with Milwaukee or with Dallas and things of that nature. And obviously Big Marcus won one. So you got guys that's just hungry to make a mark on their career and do it at a high level. And, and we got some guys that's here that's not satisfied with just winning one title. So you add that all together, I think it's going to be great for our ball club. So, playing this game, you want to be remembered. You want to be legendary. You want to be remembered and be, remembered as one of the greatest teams or one of the greatest players or whatever the case may be. But the best way to do that is to win and to win at the highest level. So, I remember, in Miami, we wasn't satisfied after winning our first one. We was able to go out and sign Ray Allen, and we was able to double down on that. So, I feel like we're trying to do the same thing here. Our franchise and Rob and everyone upstairs was not satisfied with just winning one title. We went out and added some pieces. Obviously, we lost some great pieces that helped us win the title, and we're going to miss those guys. But we added some guys that can come in and hopefully, I'm not going to say hopefully, but I know they'll be able to make an immediate impact on our team. So we're looking forward to that.
Hey, Frank, wanted to ask you about defense with this team. How much do you anticipate things evolving in terms of the game plan that you generally went with last year? And, of course, it adjusts game to game depending on opponents. But how much do you think you can put in those same principles as the previous season with the new personnel?
hopefully most of the principles still apply to this team, and we'll execute them at the level that we were able to last year, and even better in some ways. I do think we grew our scheme throughout the course of the year last year, and we were a different team second half of the year and in the bubble than we were, say, the first month or two of the season. Even though we had a strong start on that end of the floor, we did evolve some, and that'll be the starting point for this year's team.
Let's go, Kyle Bloom.
Hey, Frank. Kind of a niche question here, but you talked about sort of wanting to see Dennis and LeBron play together. What have you kind of seen of the balance of each of those guys kind of being able to work off each other so far in practice, and throughout the preseason, what are your goals to kind of see from that combination and use them in different ways?
No, that's a huge part of this year's plan, is to have Dennis out there with LeBron, alleviating some of the pressure, but also his ability to play off the ball. That's what we love about him. They're going to see heavy minutes throughout the course of the year this year. We haven't seen a ton of it yet in practice, because most of our practice so far has been sort of like drill work more than live action, or 4-on-4s or things like that. But that combination is going to be one that we envision being a great one for us this year.
Dave McMiniman.
Frank, from the shortened off season that followed you guys playing in the finals, you guys starting off last year going to China, you guys having the coaching staff be a part of the All-Star weekend, will you try to do things this season to bake in some time for your players to be able to get away, maybe cancel a practice here or there, or do things of that nature, just to try to keep your guys fresh, considering so many of them and your coaching staff had such a long year last year?
We try to do that on a normal year. I guess because of the short off season and the nature of the way last season played out, we'll be mindful of that. But we try to do a good job, all throughout a regular season, or I should say a normal season, of making sure our guys have those types of opportunities, and that they're staying fresh. We do enough work, to improve every day without mentally fatiguing them or physically fatiguing them. And I think it'll be similar to our approach in the past, with slightly different circumstances.
Bill Oram.
Hey, Frank, kind of a niche question here, but I'm just wondering, have you and LeBron started having conversations?
Bill, what's a niche question? I don't understand what you mean.
It's like a niche question.
Hey, no making fun of each other. We all need to get along on this call here.
I mean, I'm doing my best to not have fun on these Zoom calls that we're going to have 900 of this season.
I'm just messing.
Make it as boring as possible. But I am wondering if you and LeBron have started having conversations yet about his load early on, and how much you guys are going to lean on him early, knowing it's a long season, knowing that you now have him for 3 years through his 20th season, like how that all might factor into those decisions.
Yeah, we have had sort of preliminary conversations about that, and we're both sort of the mindset, like, let's just see how it plays out, and evaluate each day, each week, how he's feeling, and not lock into any set plan, but to have a sort of a normal build up of getting his legs back under him, get him used to playing live basketball again, and just evaluate where he's at, on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis before we make those decisions about the management plan of how much he's going to participate early in the season versus late in the season, all those types of things. It's really just kind of be a day-to-day approach.
Dan Wikey.
I'm trying to gather myself after Bill just looks so proud of himself, doesn't he? I think just how's housekeeping question. Did you guys have any new absentees or any returnees to practice today?
Same group as yesterday.
Okay. And then secondly, kind of along the lines of what Bill was asking, LeBron's defensive buy-in last year was, and his intensity on that side of the ball was such an important part of the guy's identity, really from day one in the season. If you guys are scaling back and stuff like that, are you going to have to find that sort of imprint elsewhere, or do you still expect him to kind of be that guy on defense that he did last year?
No, I still expect to see that contribution from LeBron. I don't think he would have it any other way. I mean, everything I've seen from him in my experience coaching him with the LA Lakers is that his IQ is second to none with defensive coverages and rotations and what has to happen to execute at a high level on that side of the ball. And his effort piece has been along the same lines. There's a high care factor there, and I would expect that to be the same this year.
Chris McGee.
Hey, Coach.
What's up?
How you doing? Tough to follow Dan, who looks so relaxed on his couch. But
You're doing a great job, though,
my
Geeter.
question, it's really just a basketball question. Integrating kind of the new pieces to an already implemented system, and then the challenges that you guys face as a staff to kind of curtail to those guys like a Marc Gasol, right? He's going to play a little different than JaVale and Dwight. So if you can speak to kind of those challenges, and maybe the challenges aren't the right word, but excitement for a staff to do that.
Yeah, we've got several players on our team that give us a different dynamic. And, I think the coach's job in any sport is to make slight adjustments and tailor your scheme and your system based on your personnel. And we'll do the same type of thing with these guys. And, I've just been really impressed, not only with the professionalism of our new guys, but the different skill sets that they bring to the table, with Mark's passing at the top of the key and three-point shooting at the big position. Trez's ability to finish on rolls and to post basically anybody he wants to and be effective. Wes Matthews' ability to make plays both off the bounce and in catch and shoot situations, and his defense. And obviously Dennis's speed is just something that very few teams possess. That type of weapon offensively, and to be honest, I'm almost more excited about his defensive speed, because the containment piece in this league, that makes it so hard to help without giving up threes. I think that's going to be a huge factor for our team as well. So we are excited and enjoying the process of seeing how these slightly different skill sets fit into this year's team and how we'll be slightly different.
Bill Plaschke.
Yeah, Coach, back to the LeBron load management issue. Isn't it more important to keep this team healthy for the spring than anything that happens in the regular season, given the fact that you're a veteran team and, home court advantage is not as important and all that?
Yeah, there's no doubt. The goal of every year, but I think in particular this year, is to make sure we're healthy and whole going into the playoffs. That's not to say that we're going to take the regular season lightly in any way. I mean, the guys that are on the floor are going to compete and try to recreate the identity of playing harder than our opponent every night. But our goal is definitely to make sure that we're healthy come playoff time, for sure.
Thank you.
Just a few more here. We'll take Melissa Rowland.
Hey, first of all, I was just wondering, LeBron told us that he felt sore as hell. How did he look today? And then I was also wondering, is LeBron a guy that you have to kind of protect from himself, or does he kind of step up and say, I need a break? Or is he one of those guys who you have to say, I need to take him out because he's just going to play through everything?
I think he does a good job of self-regulating what the right amount of work is for practice this time of year, throughout the regular season. I made a joke with him last year that he basically should be retired from practice because of his tenure and his years and all that stuff. And we're always going to follow his lead with how he's feeling. we have to pull him back more than ask him to work, for sure. And, it's just part of him. He wants to do enough to stay in rhythm, so he can be effective on the floor without overdoing it, and I think he has a good balance and a good feel for that.
And then, if I may, how does he look, or how has he looked today?
Yeah, looks great. He's moving well. Look, he's the best player in the world, So, like everybody, we're coming off of an off season where we're not playing pickup games leading into this. And, so everybody's got, just some things that they're working out and getting themselves, back in shape and getting their legs under them. It looks good.
Brian Kamenetsky.
Hey, Frank, kind of to go back to what Mike asked you at the beginning, when you talk about principles, like defensively or even offensively, and the strategies that go along with it, is there a difference between the principles and the strategy? And then if there is, how long does it take to figure out what those strategies need to be with the personnel to be able to match the principles?
Well, I think all that stuff evolves throughout the course of the year. The principles of a great defense, they really don't change very much. I think we've made some adjustments to those principles based on how the league has changed their style of play over the last 5 years or so in the three-point shooting era. The strategies come into play like every year. You measure what your roster, your current players' strengths and weaknesses are on that side of the floor, and again, you tailor it to things that they can do well and put them in position to succeed. So that stuff will all evolve throughout the course of the season.
Thanks.
Last question, Jordan Richard.
Hi, Coach. Can you just talk a little bit about Taylor Horton Tucker's development? I know he's just turned 20 a few days ago. Can you just talk about what the preseason and season are going to mean for him and just his maturity level to be on the team, championship team, at so young of an age and be the youngest on the team?
Well, I would say he continues to impress. The young man has a great attitude, a great spirit, comes to work every day with humility, and, he just goes out there and kicks people's butts. Quite frankly, he's just he's a heck of a talent. He's had a great 2 days here. I'm coaching him harder than the rest of the players on the team, a lot of the veterans, because I think he's got a chance to be really good for us immediately, not just down the road. And couldn't be happier with the start that he's off to.
What are your first impressions?
Just try to learn the system, second day. I think it's positive so far. I think we had good practices. Everybody get to know each other. Me learning, my teammates, staff, been great. And yeah, just, try to learn the system, try to learn day by day.
Dave?
Hey, Dennis, it's David Bennett with ESPN. We're just getting to know you out here, so I'm curious. There was a photo shared on the Lakers account yesterday of you practicing, and it appears you have a bunch of tattoos of different people's faces on your left leg. Can you tell us about what that art is?
Yes, for my whole family. I'm gonna do that whole sleeve, on the left side for my whole family. Family means a lot to me. So I got a couple more, probably like 7 to 8 faces I got to do, for family.
So, we're talking siblings, wife, children, that type of deal? Parents?
Yeah, mom, my best friend is in there. I got 4 siblings, so. Then I got my coach who, brought me to this point from Germany, who brought me to basketball. Of course, my dad, my mom, my niece. Yes, it's we got a lot of family.
Good, thank you.
Calhoun?
Hey, Dennis. Normally there'd be a lot of pickup games leading up into training camp. That's a lot of teams do, mini camps or trips together to kind of get used to each other's company. In absence of that, what is happening either in training camp or off the floor to kind of kickstart that chemistry, make it go a little faster on a shorter timeline?
I mean, I think we are professionals, and we came in here with the mindset to build a good chemistry, on the court and off the court. And that's what I like about this organization. It's like almost like a big family, and I'm used to that because in OKC it was almost the same style. And I think, like I said, learning day by day, even in practices, talking to each other, even if we don't play that much, I think that's the biggest key, communication. So that's what we're doing, try to get better each day, and then we go from there.
Dan Weinke?
Hey Dennis, good to see you again. This is training camp 18 for LeBron James, which is just a crazy number to say out loud. What's it been like watching him work here for 2 days? And we talked before about, this is a guy that you competed against your first days or so in the league. Like, is it kind of crazy to see him and his longevity up close?
Yeah, it's 18th years. I don't even know what to say. And he's still one of the, hardest working guys in this building. He's here early, leaving late. It's just crazy to see. But to be around him, his presence, just how he, practices, even off the court stuff, what I've seen so far, treatment, all that stuff, I just try to get better at me, myself as well. So I think he is a big role model, for everyone here. To see, that he's doing it for 18 years on the biggest stage and didn't slow down yet. So everybody, is watching him try to get better each day as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Chris McGee?
Hey Dennis, Chris McGee with Spectrum Sports. After watching you have so much success in Oklahoma City last year, and then of course here in LA, we watched Montrezl Harrell play great, especially alongside Lou Williams the last couple of years for the Clippers. I think Laker fans, envision that pairing of you two being pretty something special. I know it's only been a couple of days, but have you had a chance to kind of see what that might look like and how special that can be?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of Clippers games. I know Lou very well. He was my veteran, in Atlanta. And I told Harold as well, when we on the floor together, it's going to be the 1-2 punch was really dangerous. And so, we practice it together already, try to get a good feeling, better feeling each day. But it's going to be a good pick and roll option every time when we do it.
Alan Sliwa?
Hey Dennis, just to play along that, I know it's only been 2 days, but have you kind of envisioned also just, I'd love for you to talk about your strengths, how that's going to complement what guys like Anthony Davis bring to the table, LeBron James, like you were just talking about Montrezl Harrell. Can you just kind of go a little bit into that, how some of the things that you do so well can complement what those other players do?
I think bringing the energy, defensively, I just try to help my teammates, to either get the lead or win a game. And whatever it is, I do it. If it's diving on the floor, if it's getting a rebound, getting a steal, whatever it is, even cheer on the bench, is whatever it is to win a ball game. And I think even with my offensive game, playing with AD or pick and roll, it's going to be dangerous as well, because I can create my own shot. I can give him an open look, create for others. LeBron does the same thing. I think with LeBron, to be on the same court with him and Anthony Davis, we can go up and down, play in transition. They did it great last year, and I think I can help there a little bit, and with my speed, I think we can be very fast.
Last three here, Bill Orem.
Hey Dennis, nice to see you again. The last time we talked to you, I think you had just gotten here from Germany the day before, and you said that the next couple of weeks were going to be a whirlwind for you of house hunting and everything. In a normal off season, if you change teams, you've got a couple of months to move and to get settled, I presume. I'm wondering what this just has been like for you, this whirlwind, and trying to relocate on basically 2 weeks' notice, and then the season starts.
Yeah, I was in Germany with my whole family, and then my agent called me and said, listen, you got to be back by a certain time. And just seeing the family, the last couple of days, then coming back here. I think I've been here now 7 days, almost a week. Try to still find a house, try to get situated here. My family is here, my wife and 2 kids. But like I said, the organization doing a great job helping me out, and we professionals. We gotta come to work, be professional about it, and go back home and take care of your family. So I try to focus on that and try to get better on the court.
Album.
Hey Dennis, just as a follow-up, the newcomers on this team all have a lot of experience in this league, even more so than yourself, Mark and Wes. When you're trying to learn a new team and new terminology and get used to it, does it help having other guys who are new to the team who have that kind of experience that your fellow newcomers have?
Say that again, please.
Yeah, when you're trying to blend into a new team and you have all these other guys who are new but are experienced, are veterans, does it help that you guys are all in it together and you have that base of experience already?
Yeah, we don't have no rookies, I think, in this group. I think we got Taylor is still a rookie till his first game, but I think other than that, we got great veterans who are doing a great job, showing leadership, try to bring everybody together, especially with Bron, AD. We didn't have no problem with it, and I think it's easy. It's an easy transition for everyone who comes in new. Just like I said, learning the system a little bit and try to be comfortable. But other than that, it's an easy transition for everyone.
Last question, Jordan Richard.
Hey Dennis, Coach Vogel and a lot of the players have raved about you defensively, and just I heard you talk about communication earlier. Can you just talk about some of the defense assignments that you guys have been going over? Has there been more of a defensive practice, and how has it been for you and Wes? Some of the new anchors on the defensive side.
We did everything, defensively and offensively. Of course, we talked yesterday a lot more about the defensive principles, but I think they've been doing it. They did it last year. All the people who are coming in this year, I think they've been in good organizations where they play, almost similar kind of defense. So, like I said, the transition was easy. Now I think we just gotta all be on the same page, when we get on the court, play 5-on-5 or whatever, just to be on the same page. And it starts with communication, and I'm really fired up, to help on the offensive end and the defensive end. And for me, defense is first, and I try to get stops, and then from there on we can run and have fun on the offensive end. But for me, it starts on defense, and get some stops and then just go.
just wondering, Frank was talking about how unique this first day is, and what are you trying to take out of it versus just what it's been like from your expectation about just getting in the gym, starting to see what it's like with some of these guys? How unique is this all?
Is this Mike? Sorry.
Yes, sir. This is Mike.
Big win for our Vikings. Big win for our Vikings. Dan Bailey.
Yeah, it took a little bit. I mean, it
took a little bit.
Yeah.
You're right. But back to serious business. It's definitely unique, and I guess that's just kind of the mentality that everybody, myself included, is embracing. Coming to this organization, a championship organization, with a goal to defend and repeat. You got to have some sense of competitiveness and drive and hunger, as repeat champions. And then, for myself, who's a guy who's trying to get his first one in the midst of a team that's trying to do it again. My hunger aligns with the team's hunger and the organization's hunger. But as far as trying to integrate to a new system, I mean, I've played basketball for a long time. This is season 12. All glory to God and family. But it's basketball at the end of the day. Obviously, some different nuances, some different terminologies, but nothing that can't get picked up in a matter of a few days going into camp.
I'd like to follow up on the Vikings, but I'll spare everybody else here. Wesley, just guys you played against for a long time, LeBron, Marc Gasol. Is there a way that you can understand them by all of the scouting reports that you've had to prep that then evolves as you, even from that day one when you're actually on the court together?
Absolutely. I mean, you can kind of see some of the things that you have to defend against, and to be able to put yourself in those situations where you're on the receiving end, or you're the beneficiary, or you're a guy that can open up spacing so that the ball can breathe, so that you can play. One of the big emphasis was movement. This was probably the most movement I've done as far as spacing and cutting and slashing and just getting back into the swing of things, and almost similar to the flow in which style of play that I played in Portland, style of play that I played in Dallas. And, for me, it's exciting.
Dan Warkey. Hey, Wes. Dan Warkey with the Los Angeles Times. Kind of two questions. How did your experiences going to Milwaukee last year, a team that was obviously built for a title run? You might talk about integrating in your experience, but how specifically fitting in with a championship level team? How did those experiences last year think will play out this year? And then, sort of secondly, you see around the league, two guys in Oklahoma City tested positive for coronavirus. Portland had to shut their facility down today. How big of a cloud is that? Kind of as you guys go day to day here training camp?
Well, I mean, everything that I've seen here has been top notch as far as making sure that protocols are followed. And, a lot of it is just going to come down to the accountability of oneself, being a part of this organization, being part of this championship organization, and wanting to repeat. And like I said, myself, wanting to be in that game and be the last team standing. You're going to have to hold yourself accountable. I mean, this is going to be in some ways tougher than the bubble, because at least in the bubble we knew there was no other distractions. As far as it was difficult to be isolated from what felt like the world, but now to know that not only are we looking out for everybody's personal, your family, yourself, but this is an extension. The Lakers organization is an extension of your family. And so, if we want to be the last team standing, we also got to be the healthiest team standing. So we've got to be accountable and be smart individually and collectively. And then as far as the transition from the Milwaukee to here, obviously, I mean, the difference is this group of guys has won a championship as opposed to Milwaukee, where we were trying to get our first. And the hunger is same, but it's also different at the same time. You have that pedigree about you, the wherewithal, having been there, having done it, and just trying to learn from it, but at the same time knowing that basketball is basketball, and just trying to be in the right spots at the right time to make plays and be in playing basketball again.
Dave?
Hey, Wes. When you guys, David Bennett with ESPN, when you guys look at this preseason slate and these 4 games you have, how much are you going to kind of judge your team or measure your team versus you would
in a normal year, considering you have so little time leading up to these games?
I don't know. I mean, I only really know one way to judge, and that's off of, wins, performance, how hard we go, the little things. Your shot may not be there. You might be a little bit rusty on the offensive end, obviously due to lack of playing, lack of pickup. This is very unconventional for everybody involved. Usually leading up to this point, when we get to this point in training camp, there's been a lot of 5-on-5s. There's been a lot of runs up and down. We got to be smart going into this. I mean, you don't want an NFL situation where no preseason and go straight to games, and you see a lot of guys going out within the first 2-3 weeks of the season. So that's going to be the build up and the slow progression. Obviously, this team has had this team in Miami have had the fewest amount of days off in between starting back the season. Myself, we were out in the second round, so I had a little bit more time to get ready, but that's still it's still been an unconventional off season. So a lot of it comes down to personal accountability. Getting what you need, making sure you get rest, making sure you're doing stretching on your own, doing all the little things to make sure that you can be ready when it's go time, and that's next week or later on this week. I don't even know.
Kyle Goon.
Hey Wes, full day for you with the practice and watching Kirk Cousins in one day. That's a lot of work.
I didn't get to watch Kirk, so I didn't get to watch that. So there was one stress that was gone.
It's kind of three questions here. One, we talked with a bunch of guys who are returning who have said, their normal off seasons, obviously everything being so compressed, they haven't gotten a lot of training in. As somebody who's had a little more time than the returners, how much of your regular off season were you able to squeeze in? And just as a follow up, on a first day of training camp, Frank said that most of the guys were there, but not all. How much are those holes kind of felt when you're just starting out with a new team?
Well, for me, everything is new, so I didn't really have a gauge on who was, who wasn't. I mean, I know we got some guys that are coming back. My man Quinn Cook just got re-signed back, so I'm excited about that and happy for him. And I think Alfonso wasn't here yet. I think just because, going through protocols and making sure everybody's safe and eligible and ready to go. And so it's all new for me. And as far as my off season, I mean, I was doing a lot of recovering. I had to, I had a little fracture in my finger in game 1 of the second round against Miami. So I've had to wait longer than I would have liked to. Once we've got eliminated, to let that heal up, so I could even resume back training and doing all that kind of stuff. And it's 100% now. I feel great. So I didn't really get that same normal off season as well, and still just trying to make do. Doing a lot of yoga. Just again, being in this for 12 years now, you kind of know what you need, and just making sure you're doing that on a daily basis.
Bill Orm.
Hey Wesley, Bill Orm, yeah, brother. You've mentioned personal accountability a couple times here, as it relates to both the COVID stuff and also just being physically right. But specifically with COVID, I'm wondering, how are players, specifically with your team, holding each other accountable? Where's the leadership coming from in terms of like the right behavior and making sure you're doing yourself? Everybody's putting themselves in a position where nobody's going to put the team at risk and shut the facility down.
Right. Well, I mean, everything starts within, but I mean, you think of the leader of this team. I mean, it's LeBron, and so that'll be something that will be discussed further on as we go into camp. I'm assuming, just as far as once we know more of everything, more of NBA protocols, more of just what there is to know about everything that we're getting ready to go through. This is all still new. This is all still happening on the fly. I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of things that get thrown at us throughout the season that are going to throw things off. And so again, you just got to be adaptable. You got to be you got to have that right frame of mind, right focus, knowing that above anything else, health is going to be the number one thing for us. And whether that's your body, and that's with this with COVID. So we got to be smart, and knowing that in order to be the last team standing, we got to be eligible to play.
All right, last two questions. Mark Medine.
Wes, Mark Virginia here, USA.
How you doing?
A two-parter here. You already know what it's like to play without fans when you're in the bubble. So I was wondering, in what ways will that experience again be easier to adapt to, and what other adjustments do you think will come up because you guys are now playing in NBA arenas?
I don't really know. I guess right now everybody's just got to go in to expect the unexpected. And I've been saying personal accountability for a long time. I think that's just really what's going to have to come down to, and to be ready for whatever. Make sure you do the work. Make sure you do your diligence. Coaches are going to provide us with scouting reports, game plans. It's going to be up to us to make sure our bodies are right and taken care of, so that we can go out and execute it. And just following guidelines, following protocols, and understanding the greater good. It's not hard to sacrifice when there's something bigger than you. And for this organization, it's repeating. For myself, it's getting my first one, and being the last team standing, and doing it together, and being tied in together. And that's what I took away from this first day. Even before this first day really started, that was the feeling, and that was the draw of this organization. It's bigger than everybody else.
Last one for you, Alan Sliwa.
Hey, Wes, 710 ESPN. Just curious, do you have a plan of how you're going to pace yourself as you go from training camp, preseason, to regular season, or is that something that is difficult to plan? You just kind of listen to your body. Just get your thoughts on that.
Truthfully, I haven't even thought about that. I have not thought about that at all. So appreciate you giving me something else to think about. During a time where we have no idea what anything is going to be, which way is up sometimes. I trust this staff, this organization, and I think it's going to be a daily thing. It's going to be something that you're going to have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And, I think that personally myself, obviously I was not a part of this team in the bubble, but I was proud of myself for being able to get comfortable in an uncomfortable environment. And obviously the Los Angeles Lakers showed that they we're elite at being uncomfortable in an uncomfortable, or being comfortable in an uncomfortable environment, which by winning the whole thing. So I'm not worried about that. Obviously, every day can bring about a new challenge, and it's just a matter of making sure that you do everything in your power, because obviously there's things that you can't see coming, but everything you do in your power to make sure that you're available and ready.